I'd like to welcome everybody today. I'm President Garcia Morales, and I call this work session November 1st of 2023 to order. The time is 4:03 p.m. I'd like to remind everybody to please silence your electronic devices. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather is the territorial homelands of the Nuwu, the Mawapa Band of Paiutes, and the Las Vegas Band of Paiutes. Trustee Bustamante Adams will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Thank you, Trustee Bustamante Adams. Thank you, everyone. Trustee Guzman will make a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Do I have a second? Trustee Williams, allow me 1 second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Okay, colleagues, please cast your vote. Okay, colleagues, that motion passes 6-0, noting Trustee Zamora is not present. Okay. All right, everybody. It doesn't appear like we have anyone who has signed up in advance for public comments. I just want to make a note of that. We are going to move on to item 2.01 because that is an action item. Just making a reference to colleagues that there's nobody here to provide public comments on this particular item. And I'm closing public comment acceptance at this time. This item, 2.01, is a revision of the 2024-2025 calendar of board meetings. And essentially what we've done here is have the changes that are taking place are the budget meeting and a regular meeting are taking place together. At one point, these meetings were separate. We'd have a budget meeting, and then we'd have a board meeting, two separate meetings in three separate meetings in a month. More than 3 meetings, excuse me. They would be separate meetings. Dr. Jara, please remind us again the budget meeting that takes place in the spring. Sorry, we're putting, allow me 1 second. I don't know what's going on here. Go ahead.
Madam President, members of the board, Trustee Garcia Morales, I believe it's not a legislative session, so it would be the tentative. I believe it's in the springtime, most likely April or May. May 20th.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for that. Yes. So the goal is to add the final budget meeting to this agenda, to the calendar, excuse me. And in the past, we have merged them or brought them together. Is that what we're doing this go around? Joe, you briefed me on this. No, we're separating them. Okay, thank you. I'm having a difficult time with the timing or the timer on this.
Superintendent Jar, for the record, we tried and we looked at it. I think that's why, in my mind, the confusion. But the certain timelines from the law, we could make it fit into the combining them together as one.
Got it. Thank you for that, Dr. Jar. I'm sorry. Joe has briefed me on it this morning, and we had been talking about it all this time. But okay, that's it. That's it for now, colleagues. You'll see that those meetings are on May 20th. Thank you, Trustee Guzman. And for now, that is on the 24 board meeting calendar. How do I see? Okay, this is setting. Excuse me, colleagues, I'm having a difficult time with the new setup and not sure how to Trustee Guzman?
Thank you, President Garcia Morales. I move that we accept the new calendars with the final budget meetings on May 20th of 2024 and May 19th of 2025.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman. Trustee Brooks?
I second the motion.
Thank you, Trustee Brooks. All right, colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Guzman, a second by Trustee Brooks. Please cast your vote. Thank you, colleagues. That motion passes 6-0. Okay. At this time, I am going to turn it over to, we're going to move on to item 2.02. This item is not an action item. This item is not an action item, and this item came as a result of a discussion we have back in January to provide members an opportunity to share the work that they've been doing in our community through the committees that they've agreed to participate in. Trustee Brooks, this is your opportunity to share kind of some of the work that's taking place on the committee that you are a part of, or committees that you're a part of, and we'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to provide an update on the Nevada Association of School Boards. As you know, we all engage in that work. After the last legislative session, the group decided to put an RFP out for a new lobbyist. So we spent a great deal of time doing that. They interviewed people. Eventually, they went with the Tom Clark Solutions. I believe they're beginning in January 2024, and they're going to hit the ground running. They also, as you know, there's a conference coming up at the Westin Las Vegas, November 30th through December 2nd. You should have registered by now, and that will give us an opportunity for professional development as well as networking with board members around the state.
Okay, thank you very much, Trustee Brooks. At this time, those are all the report outs that we have. The next item that we have, colleagues, is item 2.03. This is also not an action item. 2.03 is the trustee-appointed onboarding process. Over the last several months since the legislature passed a law to appoint non-voting members to the Board of Trustees, we have been talking about strategy to ensure that we, as a board, help municipalities who are going to be who have selected individuals to be part of the Board of Trustees. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention is the onboarding process. We have all had various versions of the onboarding process. Maybe the last 2 cycles of new members have had the consistent onboarding process. And I recognize that there may have been some discrepancies previous to these last 2 cycles, but one of the things that we've learned is that there is a need to onboard members on language of the board, procedures, policy, governance, being the main primary sources of onboarding, followed by some of the major high-level pieces of operations for the organization, in addition to meeting with the superintendent. And I plan to continue to offer that this go-round for new members in December, to have a 3 or 4 day training dedicated to the CCSD system, and dedicate some time to governance as well, and the role that trustees play in the success of the organization. And then there's so that's one element that will take place before the oath of office, and then the other onboarding pieces, which will include the training that the Council of Great City Schools is providing all of us. They will be a part of those days as well, and I believe that we have sent an email providing you those days in January. And those will be 2 days. The first day will be a 3-hour commitment, and the following day will be an 8-hour commitment. Those are just some of the pieces that we're organizing. You know, I haven't mentioned yet the Nevada Association of School Boards Conference, which we will all be at. All the new members or the appointed members will be, have been invited to that already, and we expect that they will be in attendance as well, learning alongside us in terms of school board, the training that the School Board Association will provide us. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on additional training or support that members may need to be successful in their upcoming role. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to members who, if they'd like to provide any additional insight or information. Okay, Trustee Bustamante Adams.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want a couple of things. One, I want to say thank you for all those that have worked on the training. I have been a beneficiary of the fact that now it's structured. And so I just want to say thank you to all the trustees that have put in the hard work to make that happen, because I definitely benefited from that. Number two, I think I've already given you my feedback, especially in January when we had the onboarding, and so it is all covered. I would just say that if we could keep in mind of it being interactive instead of just one-way information, because it is a lot to take in at one time, and when it's interactive, it's a two-way communication. That would be my only other suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Trustee Bustamante Adams. Okay. Any additional comments or feedback? Perhaps another question that I'd like to ask members is, at what point would you like to interface or interact with the new cohort of trustees? Is that something that we have to wait until they're, you know, officially in the have taken their oath of office? Can we interface with them as a group prior to that? Maybe a question for council.
I mean, so long as you stay within the confines of open meeting law. Obviously, nothing would prevent you guys from attending, say, a social function or something, but you can't go outside those bounds.
Okay, thank you for that reminder, council. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. And I was just going to ask the same thing about, but you brought it up first, as far as, you know, interacting with them, as long as we did not violate open meeting law. And also, Trustee Bustamante Adams took away my other questions, my other comment. And I fully support, you know, the interactivity, you know, making it more interactive as opposed to, because it is a lot of information, kind of like drinking out of a fire hose to absorb. I wanted to ask something that I had brought up the last time, and you already mentioned one of the reasons being as far as consistency, and that we ended up with some of the new trustees having different information than what the sitting trustees already had. Some of the things were pretty minor, other things were a little bit more, should we say, significant. So I wanted to ask at your discretion as far as structuring this training, and also maybe with the assistance of the council, that if there is a way that city board members could sign up, that we obviously could not all have 7 board members showing up at once, but perhaps somebody wanted to get a refresher on a certain part there, wanted to sit in on something, that they could sign up with you and see what is available, because we did have some discrepancies the last time around that caused some issues. So again, it's just I'm kind of throwing it out there, maybe to kind of noodle over and think what would be an efficient way to be able to do that.
Thank you for that suggestion and recommendation. You know, I can't help but to think about the purpose of the training, which is for new members who have absolutely no information about CCSD, at least from the governance perspective and our roles as members. And maybe I think you may be speaking to a need to receive a different type of refresher that is along the same lines, however, is focused on existing members that may need refreshers on specific items. Something to consider, and I'm willing to brainstorm with you to see what that looks like, and specifically what goal and what needs need to be met to make sure that we're all successful. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I would be happy to brainstorm with you on that. And I guess I used the wrong word, maybe not so much as a refresher, but just kind of like for consistency's sake and kind of just almost like if you're auditing a class, just sitting in. So thank you for that offer.
Okay, we'll be in touch, Trustee Cavazos. Great, let's see who, I can't see who's in the queue. Who's next? That's who's next. Trustee Bustamante Adams, thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, my question was along the same line, and if there is an opportunity, I would love, I don't know if refresher is the right word, but I would not expect to be disruptive in the group because it is the focus of the new individuals. But I know that I do benefit from hearing things from other perspective as they're having their dialogue. So, but that's at your discretion, and thank you for the opportunity to share.
Thank you very much, appreciate that. Okay, see Trustee Brooks in the queue.
Thank you, Madam President. Because we're purposely delaying our work with the council, is it possible that some of the stuff that you're presenting or that we're presenting is going to be something that we're going to be reviewing as a group with the council? And would it benefit us to hold off on some of it and let the council do it or not?
Yes and no. Like some of the presentations that are provided by the superintendent's staff are maybe not going to be covered by, won't be covered by the council, for example. However, I see there may be, I mean, in terms of policies, we're going to review policies as well in depth. I don't know that the council will specifically go into that, but there may be a section where I'm exploring what it looks like to start the onboarding with a governance overview and the role that the Board of Trustees plays that's required by law. And I'm willing to explore what that looks like, and I'm happy to brainstorm with you or other members who have ideas to make sure that we're not duplicating efforts and new members have to like sit through things twice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Zamora?
Thank you, Madam President. To what Trustee Bustamante Adams said, I think my learning style is very much, it has to be repetitive. So I like the idea of possibly having board members just sit in, just being kind of just watchers. And I'm also the type of learner that I like asking questions of experience, right? So if there is something specifically that we're learning about or new members are learning about, I say I'm learning about it because I'm always learning, but maybe new members might have questions about a certain situation or just kind of their experience. I think it would be great to also have other board members there to kind of speak on that and see different perspectives. So just adding to that.
Thank you for that insight, and I appreciate the reminder that we all are creatures of habit and can certainly benefit from ongoing learning and deepen our knowledge of this organization within the parameters of our role of the organization. I think it's also important to consider what it looks like to make that, there is not a lot of people who have experience in board governance. You don't walk onto the board with this, resume full of, you don't always come to the boards don't always receive individuals who have a lengthy and extensive experience in board governance. However, in order for us to continue to be an effective organization, like we have to continue to focus on that so that we can ultimately focus on the outcomes of our students. Trustee Williams, I see you're in the queue. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President. I appreciate everyone's comments, but I think I respectfully just disagree. I think everybody on this board, including myself, likes to hear themselves talk. So when we're trying to educate a bunch of people, we don't necessarily want a bunch of trustees interrupting, asking questions, and confusing the brand new trustees. I think there's a time and place for that. I don't think it's the initial training. So like if there's the 4 days that they commit to, like when we first got on the board, we did the 4 days, 2 here, 2 there, 1 there, 1 there, whatever it was, right? And then we did that. And then after that, we had those opportunities to talk to the other trustees, whether in a group setting or on an individual basis, where I understand and I see the value in having that open dialogue and actually talking to the trustees, the new appointed trustees, I think that it's actually not conducive for them. And I think if we want to have 4 appointed members on this board that are, you know, I guess able to work with and things like that, I don't think overflowing them with the amount of information that we already give them, plus then additionally having our own personal experiences out there, I don't think it's actually helpful. So, just my.
Thank you for that perspective, Trustee Williams. I see a couple of trustees in the queue, but actually I want to turn it over to Trustee Guzman, who hasn't had a chance to chime in yet.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, thank you. President Garcia Morales, sorry with the issue with the microphones. As someone who did have a board experience, I work with a board. This board is very much different. Very much different. And so there are going to be some people who have been appointed that do sit on a type of board that are going to need to learn how different we are, because people think they know what we do when we sit up here, but they have no idea. Trust me, because I used to sit out there. So this is something that we should really take into consideration, because when we were going through the training, that was not addressed. How different our board experience would be. Obviously, I probably was the only one who had actually sat on a board at that particular moment, but also when at the end, it would have been really good if we were able to ask our questions of sitting board members. I mean, we had Trustee Brooks come, and I think Trustee Ford was there intermittently, but I think it would have been better to have had a session, a Q&A type session, so that we could have had a feel for when we actually sat on the dais. Because I was nervous that first time, maybe the first 10 times. But I don't think that anyone who sits on this dais understands our interaction with public comment, what can happen afterwards, things that happen in the peripheral when we are not sitting on the dais, and how we need to act and actually know our role. So those are the types of things that I really feel need to be in, towards the end, after they get the nuts and bolts, then exactly what it's like. And they shouldn't get it from, per se, a staff member. I think they should get it from us.
Thank you, Trustee Guzman, for that insight. I appreciate that. Colleagues, I appreciate the dialogue. All of the points have been taken, and I hear that there may be room. I'm taking all this information, and I will figure out and determine a way for us to still meet the needs of our members and of our new members, and ultimately help them be prepared and successful for this role that they'll taking on. That will require at minimum 3 meetings a month, 2 briefings that are each at least 2 hours long a month, and closed sessions that are at least twice a month. There is a significant amount of time that's invested in, that an individual invests in this role, and the expectations need to be clear that this is not well, this is technically a volunteer role, but it is a very serious volunteer role. Any other members in the queue? Okay, all right. Trustee Cavazos?
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, I just wanted to circle back to, because I had an inquiry. So January 9th and 10th on where we are going to be asking not asking, but the appointed trustees would be attending that also, of course. And that is going to be more like a trustee retreat or training. It's not going to be during like a public session or anything like that. It's going to be, like we've had some trainings in the past that have been during a board meeting. This is going to be separate You said 3 hours one day and 8 hours another day?
The second day will be a public meeting.
The second day would be a public meeting. Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, colleagues, I really appreciate the dialogue and certainly appreciate any additional pieces of feedback that come your way as we develop the agenda for these individuals who receive interactive and interactive sessions, training, along with information that is valuable to help them strengthen their knowledge as they'll become a sitting board member soon. Okay. All right, colleagues, that's it on this item. I'm going to turn it over to public comment. And at this time, before I officially close public comment, I have not received any yellow cards, so we're going to keep it moving and move on to item 4.0, the upcoming meeting of the Board of Trustees. It's Thursday, November 9th at 5 p.m. here in the boardroom. Okay, colleagues, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Trustee Brooks?
Thank you, Madam President. I move to adjourn.
Thank you. Trustee Williams?
I second.
Thank you, Trustee Williams. Colleagues, we have a motion by Trustee Brooks, a second by Trustee Williams. Can you please cast your vote? Okay, colleagues, that motion passes 7-0. The time is 4:29. Thank you for your time this evening.